think there's a real double standard there, in that they don't know who I am, and a good manager, goes out to rally the troops once in a while. I've never seen them visit me at my job, not even on the day they arrive. So, on the one hand, they clearly don't know or care to know about my role and what I do. However, they still have no problems labelling the role as essential services when it comes to snow days, and they want to keep the university open.
On an individual level, it's almost impossible to feel valued for the job we do, because I don't feel that the job I do is actually known by management.
We're just people that turn up and do the job we're told to do. They've got no concept of community on this campus at all. The funny thing is that when they need us most, then we're valuable. The last time it snowed, the snow day, all the staff down at Sussex House got sent home, and essential services had to stay. That was catering, the porters, some of the cleaners, and some of the management, because we were essential services for the students. So yeah, we're essential when they want us to be essential, but the rest of the time we're just a commodity to sell off.
And alongside what gets valued monetary-wise, there's a kind of more invisible value provided by people who are employed with a direct stake to the university and not employed to an outside organisation, which then comes to work on a kind of freelance basis at the university. There's a greater stake in a community if we're all employed by the same Sussex University and we all belong together in it, which maybe doesn't translate into a monetary value in the accounting books, but would add to the student experience more broadly.
Some ideas.
Okay, I think it's interesting that it has come up recently, because originally management was very clear and insisted that the outsourcing exercise had nothing to do with economic justification. The problem was not economical. The idea was not to save money. That's what they said to the trade unions over and over again. I don't know why they have had to change their justification. It may be, but I'm not sure, it may be that they realized that the story they were telling about the fact that the quality of services would improve has not been accepted across campus and has been actually highly contested. And so as that justification maybe didn't stood anymore, maybe they turned to something else. But I cannot say for sure. So the question arises as to why suddenly there is a deficit. And I think that would be a very good question to ask accountants.
Basically the way they arrive at these conclusion has a lot to do with the way the whole template by which they allocate costs and determine revenues, the income that's generated by various units. One of the key things in terms of the creche, the nursery, was very striking, I think, at the time, was that claims were made about losses that the nursery had. And it was, the numbers that were provided were never really transparent, because they included costs from the main central administrative and managerial unit that were basically distributed amongst the various units of the university, and that meant that the creche itself had to pay for this administrative structure. So I think it's, in a way you can justify the idea that various units like departments pay for this central administration, because of course it plays a big role in terms of the operations of the university. But when you're looking at the nursery, or when you're looking at catering, when you're looking at parking or things like that, where it's not really clear in what sense you should, why you should include the cost of this central management in the operations to determine whether it's a financial burden or not on the university. And this is what's been done. So that, I think at that level it's not very transparent how the numbers are being used at times.
According to documents released under FOI, relating to the business case for doing this, that's not actually what is stated. That's not to say that there's other documents that would counteract that, but it would certainly seem, to the analysis that we have of the economics, that currently catering are running at a small loss, but by the third year, so we'd be looking at 2016, now they should be running in profit anyway, as if that's based on analysis if nothing changes.
Well, the £500,000 in debt figure, which has come up recently, has only come up recently, and as far as I'm aware, basically the services were run by a number of different providers a few years ago. Some of them university providers and some of them external private providers. They were brought in-house 2 or 3 years ago, and my understanding is that actually they were making good money then, and that one of the reasons for bringing them in-house was so that the surplus or the profits from those services could be reinvested in the university. So the £500,000 loss figure is a new one, which slightly contradicts what's been said earlier on about these services making money which could be reinvested in the university.